Hey everybody, Elgin here, eXp Realty, the Elgin and Plow Walker team. Just got back in town. We're at the start of 2024. Wanted to kind of just give an overall expectation of some things here in January of 2024, our new year, our real estate update. We're going to talk a little bit about both buyers and sellers. Let's start with the buyers. So there's news out, you guys may have heard it, if not, that at some point this year that the Federal Reserve is probably cutting interest rates. So a couple of things with that. So number one, remember this. When the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates, that does not mean they're cutting interest rates for us as consumers specifically. The interest rates that are being cut and or adjusted is the money that the corporations, the banks, et cetera, pay within their financing and stuff with the government. Those are the people that control the interest rates on us. So even if the Fed does that, which, that's the rumor. Please remember, that's the rumor. None of this is confirmed. That does not mean that our rates will go that much lower. Like, for instance, if you hear the term, the Federal Reserve just cut interest rates by 1 point, that doesn't mean that we're getting 1 percentage point less on the money that we use. It's not what that means. Here's also what you want to think about as a buyer right now is the inventory is still low and the rates obviously are higher than they were at some point, but people are still buying, right? You should really look at whether or not you can afford to buy now still. Now, I'm going to be the first person to tell you don't buy what you can't afford. But the reason you want to consider buying now of something that you can afford, there's two really strong reasons. The first one is, so when the rates go down, and let's suppose the rates are at, they had almost gotten up to 8%. Let's use 8%. Let's say the rates go up to 8 or at 8%, and let's suppose that something happens for whatever reason that the rates drop down to 5, 5.5, or 6, somewhere in that ballpark. Say between 5 and 6%, and they were at 8% right now. Does that seem like, feel like, and or truly is a deal for people in their monthly payments and what they qualify for? Of course it is. So what will happen? Well, that means there'll be more people that'll be looking to try to buy as quickly as possible before the rates go up, possibly again. Now, if there's an inventory shortage and there are more people that are looking to buy because they're trying to get in with these rates, what does that do to prices? What does that do to prices? Let's go back just a few years ago when everything was multiple offers, everything was above list price, everything pretty much was removing appraisal contingencies and physical inspections and stuff. You got no closing cost help or anything from the sellers. Is that really what you're possibly waiting on? See, I am not going to be one of the people that will tell you, well, buy because you can always refinance later, because that's not the case. But what is the case is this, is if you can afford it and the rates do come down and you do refinance it and you don't take cash out of it, you're going to lower your monthly payment and you'll already have had your home and you're building equity in it right away. That is true. So again, I would tell you, if you can buy now, I guess what I'm really saying to you is don't wait until you feel that the interest rates are down, so now I'm going to buy. If you are in the market to purchase now and you can afford it, buy. Because if the rates do go down, you already have your property and you're not in competition and over quote unquote paying and not getting any terms. Right now you have the ability to possibly get some terms, maybe, but if nothing else, you get into the property, and if the rates do go down, you get to lower your payment. So that's for my buyers. For my sellers, hey, listen, this is some advice, and I'm going to tell you, we're going into an election year. So for the length of time that I've been doing this, during the election year, the first part of the year up until August, September, somewhere along those lines, it tends to be a really strong market for sellers during the election years. But I'm going to tell you that during the time when we're starting to approach the actual campaigns and the actual voting and we're getting toward the second half of the year. Traditionally, what I personally have seen is that the market slows down because people are concerned with whomever the newest administration is going to be. Now, I don't really care your political affiliation, but people are concerned. They want to see. Markets want to see. Watch the stock markets. Watch things like this. And this is just something that's traditional. So I'm going to tell you as a seller that if you have a need to sell, not just a want, but a need to sell, if I were you, sometime between now and like September, I would make my move. I would make my move. Now, of course, there are things that could happen between now and then that would make me change my theory and my thought pattern on that. But in most cases, realistically, I'm going to want to, as a seller, make my move before then. Because it is an election year. And normally, during election years, you don't see a lot of policy, you don't see a lot of change, you don't see a lot of certain things. And that's generally because there does not want to be they don't want you to think that there's an advantage, that there is an advantage, an unfair advantage to either candidate, either party, or whether it is or not. That's what normally happens. So anyway, sellers, you're probably going to be in a strong seat here for a little while still again because there's just not enough homes for sale. Buyers, still a great time to buy, but you should buy now if you can, and then prepare at some point. And whether it's this year or not, to be quite honest, at some point the rates will come down. I don't know if they go to 2-3% and all that again. I think that was an extended period of time that it was at that rate, and I think it was an extended period of time that they stayed that long. And I don't know that we see that again in what my lifetime will be. But will they be lower than what they are now? More than likely, that's a pretty good bet. At any rate, you have questions, here at the Eldridge & Plotwalker team, we're here looking to serve, we're looking to help as many families as we can here in 2024. We want to thank you for all your support, not only in 2023, but for the last 36 years. And hey, I look forward to servicing you sometime in the near future.